Heatwave is literally a guy with a heat gun.
Yeah.
And he's like as valuable to the team as anyone else. Why don't they just go give a bunch of heat guns to
There's an idea!
Heat guns, come on, help us fight the aliens.
And they have replicators on the Wave Rider! Finally, this has been a thing in Legends for the last few episodes, where Ray is feeling all insignificant and like he's not good enough and doesn't have a place on the team because his suit got blown up when a Shogun warrior was wearing it, and they blew up the Shogun warrior, and somehow or rather that didn't change the timeline in any way. I know I've complained about this a lot on Legends, but I gotta tell Rasco about this because this is the thing with Legends, is that we keep going back, and anybody that we decide we want to get rid of because they're bad, or we want to save because they're good, even though that wouldn't have happened the first time around in the timeline, it's okay because we care about these people or they're bad and we want to save someone. So we do that, even though our job is to fix aberrations in the timeline, and this whole thing is supposed to be about the consequences of doing that. That's great, right? So he lost his suit, and last episode they found some of the stuff they need to power the suit. It's I forget what it's called. It's some kind of like space matter that they found a whole mine of somehow or rather in the Old West. And he and I keep asking, like, why hasn't he made a new suit? Oh, I forgot they have replicators, like that make their period clothes and stuff. So I guess that makes sense now. Like all he needed was and I guess they can't replicate that material. He needs the material to power it, and then the substance to power it, and then he just presses a button and poof, he has a new Atom suit. But they kept playing it like he just can't make a suit, and so it's just really anyway. So now he's got a suit just in this. Because they have a replicator. Oh, okay. I totally forgot about the replicator. Anyway, I digress. How'd you feel about the whole Wally thing and the preposterousness of, hey, HR, you should train me.
Okay,
why is he qualified to do that?
I think the reason is HR in his pursuit for his to write his novel, he's been doing a lot of research into the past of all their like previous missions and stuff.
Right.
And so maybe because of that, he's more educated on Team Flash's history than they are because he's so fresh. It's so fresh in his mind because he's been reading through it. So maybe he's like, I've seen the progression of Barry over the course of the past, missions we've gone on. I can help you that way. That's all I got.
I can't wait to see that. I can't wait to see how HR trains a speedster.
It's great. I mean, HR is the best thing. HR needed to be on the team. They needed to give HR a heat gun and get...
I would love that. He should have a costume. He should be called the novelist. Or he could be like a good guy bookworm.
He should be the next Doctor. Dr. Wells as the Doctor from Doctor Who. That'd be great.
Yeah. Put him on the Wave Rider. He makes as much sense as anybody to be on that team.
Yes, I agree.
It's a bunch of moronic misfits on that team. You just put him over there.
Characters that ruin other shows, just put them into this one show over here.
Yeah, so Wally like gets to have his token moment where he runs. I didn't like that everybody that was berating him before was still berating him afterwards. Who else was going to do that?
I know, that's the irritating. It was do or die. It was like apocalypse time or Wally intervene, and Wally intervening was the better choice there, obviously.
Yeah.
And then, of course, immediately after that,
nobody's
gets
real people
smashed across the street, and like he's unconscious. And I love how calm Barry is. He's like, he's really injured, but he'll live. That could mean anything. That could mean he's bruised. That could mean he's lost an arm, but he'll live. That could mean a lot of things. And Barry's just like, he's really badly injured, but he'll live. And then he's done, and they move on, and it's like, hold on a second.
I guess at some point between the commercial breaks, Barry Allen became a doctor. Yeah. Okay. So these 3 episodes together, this has got to be a weird experience for a lot of different kinds of people. Like, how do just the Supergirl viewers feel about this?
They have no idea what's going on. The only reason I could keep up with Arrow is because the main plot of that episode was about a bunch of stuff that like goes back to the beginning of Arrow. Look at all these old characters that are dead now and stuff. So I could keep up with that because I've seen like 4 seasons of Arrow or something like that. But like, if you haven't seen everything of Arrow, that episode is like, what am I even looking at?
Yeah.
What am I even looking at?
And if you have, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of just wasting time and, you know, again, novelty of that, of showing us stuff from first season. But yeah, I don't know how Supergirl fans aren't, like really let down by this whole thing. 'Cause she doesn't get to do anything.
There's no stakes for her, too.
Yeah,
like,
no, that's right.
This is your world. It could all end, and I can go back to mine.
There are points where it feels like she's forgotten that she's in an alternate universe.
What are you talking about in particular when you say
Well, so there's the bit, and some of it's just the way things are worded, because I don't know if Berlanti wrote all 3 of these. He wrote the Legends one, but he's not. He's not being real careful with his words and making sure that the things people are saying seem in character and like they have their own distinct voices. There are so many characters in this, and we can handle juggling these characters, especially in three episodes. I think I don't have a problem with how many characters are here. And I wish there were more, because I wish some of Supergirl supporting cast was here. But there's a moment in the first episode where when Flash is being forced to explain Flashpoint because of Cisco, where Supergirl has a line that could have been given to anyone, and she's the last person on Earth it should have gone to. When she said, when he's like, some things, when Barry says, some things in some of your lives, I accidentally changed some things in some of your lives. She goes, some things in some of our lives got changed, like who? You're from another universe!
This does not pertain to you.
I mean, it is possible, cosmically sure, that there could be some kind of butterfly effect thing that would affect her universe, especially if anybody else ever went back and forth after the point that Flashpoint happened. But that's not what we're talking about, probably. It's probably just, we rolled a d20 to decide who was going to get that line, or we picked somebody that hadn't had a line in a while, and we went, Supergirl! We gave her that line!
It says that there was a line, I forget which 2 characters it is. I think it's Oliver and someone else. I think it's Sarah Lance. I forget which episode it's in, but it's like they do this thing, and I can't stand this, with the we finish each other's lines thing, where like, but it wasn't even like they finished a line. It was like, I will say the first half of this sentence, and you will just interrupt me and continue the sentence after this point here.
So you have a line of dialogue, and it could be anybody.
Yeah, and Oliver's like, we really need to get into this car so we can drive over to that gas station right over there. Someone, like, finished the sentence, but it wasn't like one of those things where someone's like, what must go up must go down. Like, it wasn't like that. It was a normal sentence split for 2 characters to say. Why?
Well, and they also did the thing in Legends that they always do when they can't think of a more creative and character-driven way for someone to solve a problem. Which is, we're having a conversation about something else, somebody mentions a word, and that word gives us the answer we've been looking for. There was a Legends episode last season that did it twice in the same episode. And we did it with Stein and his daughter in this episode.
I know. Flash does that all the time, too.
Yeah, Legends is notorious, or at least for me, is notorious. The other thing Supergirl says, and this isn't a line she shouldn't have had, but it's another, either she or everyone else has forgotten that she's not from this universe. Oh, the Dominators! Yeah, I've heard of them. They came to Krypton that one time. And I'm like, how do you know that they're anything like they were in your world? Why doesn't anyone ask that question?
Yeah, I'm confused. Why isn't there a is there a Metropolis in the CW or in the Flash Arrowverse, the Flareoverse?
I don't know. And then there's that line toward the end where Oliver's like, because we have to have like a blatant easy resolution to a character arc that has not been anything like fully developed, where he's like, And they do this twice. They do this with him, and they do it with Wild Dog, where it's like, Supergirl did a helpful thing, so now I'm glad she's here. You know? And Oliver's like, we could, you know, I've gone from not wanting you around because you're too weird and crazy, because aliens are stranger than a season worth of magic, to wishing that there was one of you on our Earth. I wish we had a Supergirl on our Earth. And she goes, I wish we had an Oliver Queen. Have you looked it up in the phone book?
Do you not?
Maybe you do have an Oliver Queen. How do you know? You didn't know who this was till you got here. How do you know? Most Earths have an analog.
Oliver has
or a counterpart.
survived being stabbed in the chest and falling off a cliff. How is Supergirl any weirder than any of that? Like,
yeah, that whole thing, and we're still doing this like running gag with Diggle that we did the first time we had a crossover, where he's like, you know, I can't deal with superpowers, and like that one. I like the way he delivered it. It should have been funny. It didn't work. When the Wave Rider shows up and he's like, I never did drugs because I thought I'd see weird stuff. I wanted to love that. I really did. You know? But, like, you fought Damien Dark last season. He had telekinesis. And you know that he had magical telekinesis. He wasn't a metahuman. And well, maybe they don't. I was going to say, they have to know about time travel. These people don't seem to ever call each other on the phone. Yeah. Or send each other emails or anything. This world does not have Facebook, right? Because or texting. I mean, sometimes people text each other, but we never do it like we do in the real world. Like, dude, if I went back in time, I would be texting every person that knew I was the Flash that this happened.
Yeah.
And you might say, well, no, you don't want to do that because somebody might hack into your phone and find out. Okay, then I'd run the 5 seconds it takes to go talk to them about it.
And say it, yeah. You know, something that is hilarious, and I think this has happened in almost every time they've crossed over Arrow and Flash, where Oliver, and maybe it's just this time, but I know that like this scene has happened multiple times. I don't know if Oliver and Diggle have come this close to death before, but literally, if Barry doesn't save them in the moment where he saves them, they're dead.
They're dead. That's it.
Dead. That was going to be the end of Arrow, but Barry came in time, right? Oliver Queen, he survived so much, but what he's going to die from is the one guy, hey! Shoot, 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 shoot. Dead. Arrow.
Yeah. And if Vigilante isn't the hardest thing to kill next time he shows up, it's going to be ridiculous. Right?
Yeah.
No, you're absolutely right. That's correct. And then Oliver, and we always do this. Or I say always. We do this a lot, even in good superhero fiction, where you've always got to have there's a lot of those tropes, because, I mean, we haven't even talked about the mind control thing. Of course we had to go there.
Oh, the mind control
Of course
thing.
We had to go there. By the way, I know this is a really long Primetime Crisis episode, but there's 2 of us talking. We're talking about 3, kind of 4 episodes, so I mean, like, we've already been at this well over an hour, but there's so much to talk about. I don't feel like we're close to done. There's so much in it. But we do this thing even in good superhero fiction where somebody saves someone else from certain death, like a superhero, and the other superhero is like, no, I had that. I would have been fine. Well, we got this crazy ego trip thing. Oliver is bipolar in this episode. He's so back and forth. Like okay, so I was always irritated by how even in second season that he, I think it's second where we introduce the Flash. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. He immediately doesn't like Barry Allen for like no good reason. I mean, I always felt that way about it. And that first crossover, they're at loggerheads for like no good reason. Now, all of a sudden, he's like, Oliver's constantly taking up for Barry. He's saying, yeah, I know you went back in time and you made a mistake, but you know what? This year, I've been killing people, sometimes being like, I don't know if I want to kill people or not. You know, whatever, just do your thing and figure out all the problems later. And, the responsibility, what's that? And he keeps, like I said, taking up for Barry in every situation. He's like, I'm going to make you team leader. I don't think Barry would have been that bad at being team leader. I mean, he's a little flustered, but I thought he was kind of too flustered. That whole thing was silly, and he keeps, for not enough reasons that I can see, insisting that like trying to make sure that Barry gets to go on every mission, and when like people aren't sure they trust him and stuff. And then you have the weird token scenes where he's all angry with him, and he's kind of back to the way he used to treat him again. Like, what was that deal with, like, well, thanks, Barry, now we're up a creek. Oh, by the way, we didn't need to open with that. That was point. Just to have a big shot that you open with, like, this is gonna be a thing with a whole bunch of superheroes. And of course you have a lot of people in the audience going, oh, yeah, I thought I'd see that scene. Last episode in Supergirl. but I digress. But yeah, what was that about?
Just random mood swings, I guess.
Yeah.
No, I know exactly what you're talking about. He talks to him completely differently. It's like a completely different relationship when it needs to be.
Yeah, that's what it seems like to me. Until you get to the end, which is the relationship I want these two to have.
Yeah.
Like in that bar scene. Boy, that bar scene, that is the end of a really good of a really good crossover.
I know. It makes you feel like you're like, oh, but then you realize, like, why do I feel that way? I don't think it really earned it.
Yeah, it didn't. I don't know what we're doing, because here's the thing. One thing that these shows really have over earlier attempts at superhero shows, especially Smallville, is we don't take ourselves too seriously. We don't take ourselves seriously enough sometimes in these shows. Or not in the right way. If we're going to be just a goofy comedy, be a goofy comedy. I mean, that's how I feel about it. And I've said that 100 times with Legends, especially. But with regards to this whole thing and the way we end it, like, or the way it is like a fun over the top superhero show, I like that these characters like experience joy, and they have downtime, and they have like friendships. They don't always feel like real people, and they don't always feel real, but at least they like can enjoy each other's company, and they can stop and eat something together, have a beer or so. We didn't do that hardly at all in Smallville after the first couple seasons. And I have to give it that. I really appreciate that. And all of the battle scenes and stuff are just so super crazy over the top comic book. And that's what it has going for it, which is why it needs to stop laying the drama on so thick and steer into that skit, I think.
Yeah. That's a great point, that they do great scenes of downtime on CW shows. There was just an episode of Flash where I thought at the ending of the episode, there's a really great scene between Barry and Julian, where Julian's talking about how he was almost responsible for the death of a kid, and that's another example of where, like, that's an episode, or that's a scene that belongs at the end of a great episode between two characters where, like, they really grew as people, both of them, and their relationship was strengthened. But, like, again, like, the scene is there, but I don't think they worked up to earning that scene, that emotional payoff. But you feel it, because you're like, I know what this is I know why this scene's here. This scene is here to make me feel like, wow, look how far we've come, and at the same time, like, look at these two people who like each other as people, and they're really friends. These are, like, people who actually care about each other and do things outside of just being a TV show together. I like that.
And the more I'm thinking about it, the more I don't think this crossover can decide who its central protagonists are. You know, we have some random characters who kind of get obligatory token character arcs because we're kind of... Like, is this its own story, or is it just the continuation of each of these other stories that happen to land into each other? It really wants you to think it's one story. And, I mean, that second act is not a real second act, it's an interlude. And then, like, it's weird to do this in 3 episodes because it's not a real 3-act thing, but, like, at the end, the point of putting Barry and Oliver together there is those are the two guys that started all of this. But they sort of kind of get character arcs, but they're really muddied, and so that's problematic. But because we have, like, more not even side characters, just like part of ensemble cast that are not the big major leads in these shows that kind of get small character arcs, it made me want the story to also be about the leads of the other shows. I want Supergirl to get an arc. I want this to be about her, and I want it to be about more of the Legends. Like, I want it to be about Sarah at the very least. What if that bar scene had ended with the 4 of them? What if Supergirl was there and Sarah was there? You know?
Yeah. I mean, Cisco has a bigger role than most of the Legends, I would say, in this.
Yeah. They're kind of just along for the ride. You know, they have little things to do. They get moments, but not really character moments.
And, oh man, that line where Barry's talking to Ray about what happened to Snart. He sacrificed himself for us. Barry goes, he was a legend.
Oh, I forgot about that! I wish they would not call themselves that. It's a word that in the context of this makes no sense. No one knows about them.
Yeah, they call themselves the Legends now.
Wouldn't it be cool? And they've been doing that in the show, and the recap. You haven't watched Legends. The recap at the beginning of Legends is always, and it's like different characters that say it. So all these actors have had to say this now, or at least most of them, I think. Don't call us heroes. Call us legends. Like, well, you can, first of all, you can be both. You know, and second of all, if they're, because I like the idea that like they're legends in the sense that they're trying to be, you know, invisible in the timeline and trying to fix things so people don't know about them. They don't do that. You don't know this. They go to the there'll be an aberration. It comes up. They basically have like the bat wave from the Batman, where the computer, you know, the ship. It's Gideon. I don't know if you know that. It's Gideon on the ship. And you just saw this, so you probably saw that. But Gideon will be like, oh, there's this time aberration. Somebody is mucking with time in this particular time period. And I'm always like, okay, first of all, so time moves linearly inside the time stream, like why are you told about these things at different times? Shouldn't this all be happening at the same time? And so you have the whole time takes time to change thing, and everybody that's listening to me talk about Legends has heard me say this, but I have to set this up for you because it's so funny. Whenever we go back to fix a time aberration, we never stop it from happening. We always let it happen, and then we fix it after that. So we are immediately forcing ourselves into a new, into a time period and changing the timeline just by being there and hoping everything works out at the end. But we have a time shift that will let us go anywhere. So why don't you go 2 minutes before the time pirate gets there and stop him from you know, doing the thing he's going to do that you know he's doing? Why don't we do that? Okay, so in this, we first of all, it's hilarious to me that they don't know about Flashpoint.
And
like that's a time aberration. I do not understand that. And then you have the whole we need your help in 2016. Why are you just now finding out? Why now? I don't understand. Anyway.
I'm confused. Does time travel just work differently on Flash than it does on Legends? Because
are there rules in either?
Can you fix anything? Because, like, Jay explains that, like, you can't really fix the past to Barry in that one episode. It was, like, the second episode or something. I think Jay explains to Barry that you can't fix the past. It'll always be chipped. But isn't Legends about them,
maybe
like,
that's supposed to be the
exactly?
idea? Kind of, and if that's what they need to make that more explicit. They need to bring that more to the forefront if that's supposed to be the idea. If it's like, well, if it's happened, it's already happened, but you can, like, minimize the fallout. Well, they should talk about it more that way, because they always act like once they've solved the problem, no matter what they did, except for token times we decide there are consequences, like with Stein and this. There's, I guess, nothing in the future changes. Like, I don't buy that that with Flashpoint and with all the things that's happened in Legends that they defeated every big bad guy in each season exactly the same way. I don't buy that.
Yeah.
You know, et cetera, et cetera. It's like the whole time thing has been broken, and we're making these shows all about time travel. Two of them.
And it's really tough now because that's the easiest way to now. Anytime something in they run out, like, they have a great idea, but they can't make it work because something has already happened before, or they want to do something, but, like, this previous event makes it impossible for that to happen now, they can just go back and say, that didn't happen the way you saw it. Now it happened this way. And they can do that with whatever they want to do it with. Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's really problematic. So anyway, I don't know. We're already built on a faulty premise with all of this. I keep saying that with Legends. So you get into this thing, and the legends being there ends up being really silly. I don't understand how they didn't know about Flashpoint. I don't know why they didn't. Wouldn't that have been an interesting episode? There's an apparition. Oh crap! It's Barry Allen of all people.
That would be awesome.
And they find out about it because of a message he sends to Rip Hunter in the future, which we found out about a few episodes ago. We never, by the way, learn our lesson about telling our friends the truth.
Yeah.
Jackson is like, we should have told you about this before, and then later on, there's something, I can't remember what it is, but there's something else where it's like, we need to keep this a secret, and Jackson's like, okay, we'll keep that a secret. That was really silly, but boy, you got to really be asking yourself if you're the Legends. Wow, how did Flashpoint how did we miss that? How did that skate us by?
I'm also really annoyed by this when people on the CW do this so much, where I'm going to start a conversation where I'm going to confront someone who I have a secret that I'm keeping with, right? But I'm going to speak loudly and in front of everyone who doesn't know the secret. So even if you don't agree that we should reveal the secret, it's too late because I've already brought it up in front of everyone. So Cisco walks in, Barry, shouldn't you be telling everyone that you changed their lives? No, Cisco, we can't do this. So you're just going to keep the secret from them? Keep what secret from us, Cisco?
Yeah.
So, if you're going to do that, Cisco, just go in there and say, everybody, this is what happened, this is the secret. If you're just going to, intentionally ruin the secret, if that's your motive is to tell everyone the truth. And when Barry says no, you're going to do it anyway. So why don't you just start the conversation with, hey, everybody, here's the truth.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you, and here's Barry, and, I'm gonna make him tell you this. Yeah,
he did the exact same thing with Caitlin in one of the past Flash episodes about her ice powers, where he's like, Caitlin, don't you think you should tell them? And she's like, no, Cisco, you've just said that in front of everyone who doesn't know. It's too late now. You have to tell them.
It's not an aside in a play. It's different from that. Yeah. So we got the Hall of Justice. And it's great. It's hilarious. It's got the pool in front of it. I don't think it has water in it, but it's got the pool in front of it with the big star thing in the middle of it. That was and of course we do the Smallville thing where there's the end of the first episode with Bart Allen in Smallville. He says, maybe I'll go off and start like a league or something. And they do that in this where it's like a hall or something. I don't know if you picked up on that, but he says that he's like, it's a hall. Okay. It was so this is just this big a hangar. He says it's a hall or a hangar. That's a hangar, Barry Allen. It's a hangar. You guys can call it the Hall of Justice or the Hall of whatever down the road if you decided to make it a hall. Right now, hangar. Okay.
It's a hangar.
Why does it have a pool in front of it? What is that for? I don't even know. They just make the building look like the Hall of Justice. Okay, that's kind of fun. It's super silly, but whatever. But why is the landscaping already there? That's really strange. Okay, so that is an irritating tease if we never build an actual Justice League in this show, and especially because it would maybe be okay if it vaguely looked like the Hall of Justice, but then we have a presidential press conference in it at the end. You have to keep using it after that. I would think. I would kind of hope that at some point, because I really want Legends to stop being a time travel show and turn into their Justice League show. That's what it ought to be. Why would you have? Except that we have this set. It's probably just a hangar they went and shot in. But we have this place, and we've been using it, and we want to bookend with it. So that's where the press conference is going to be. In the story, why is the press conference there? Why is it there? Here's why it's stupid. It says Star Labs on the outside of the building. Okay? Barry Allen owns Star Labs. It's in Central City. Why isn't anybody putting two and two together going, wait a minute, maybe Barry Allen is the Flash? I mean, maybe they don't know that there's any correlation between the. Well, no, because the Flash is. That's my point. The Flash is there inside of a star. Like, there would have to be some mention of Barry Allen put this together for us or something. Like, why are they there? Why is that where the press got? Why did the president go all the way there? Anyway, also, I just thought that was so. That whole last scene there was just dumb line after dumb line.
Stuff like that almost gets lost on you because I'm sitting there and I'm like, everyone should know that is Oliver Queen under that hood. Everyone should know. There is no reason that you cannot know that that's Oliver Queen there.
Did you watch last season of Arrow?
I watched part of it.
Okay. Because
most of it.
So you didn't watch all of it, but the deal breaker didn't happen for you in 3. Like you kept going past 3, but now you're done. Okay. Anyway, I'm just asking. But with explain yourself. Why are you not still watching this show? With the Oliver Queen thing, that is so broken that will never be salvaged. Everyone knows it's Oliver Queen and they've just forgotten, okay? Because
Iris even goes, whoa, Oliver Queen's the Arrow? That makes him so much hotter.
Why is that line all over this? It drives me crazy. Everybody's talking about how hot people are. It's like, yes, I get it. Sarah's into girls. Okay, why have we made that? Sarah used to be so interesting, and she was a lot more than just her sexuality, you know. And it's gotten to the point where we have to just keep reminding people over and over again, like that she's bisexual or that she leans toward women, and at the same time, we're not doing anything interesting with her. And
it happens 2 or 3 times in the last episode alone. I think.
Yeah, we keep doing. I don't know what the point of that is. And you got that thing where she's like, I prefer girls in the in Arrow, and that's. I mean, I'm not saying that she couldn't have discovered that about herself or developed it, but that's the thing that happened to her when she was in Nana Parbat. Where she falls in love with Nyssa there. Before that, she thought she was heterosexual. But I guess that's neither here nor there. That's not a big deal, I guess. But I thought about it because my point is they are laying that on thick as her prevailing character trait. That's not fair. There's a lot to that character. We don't do anything with her anymore.
Yeah, that's a real easy way to simplify her from what she originally was introduced in Arrow as.
Yeah, she was so complicated relatively to these shows. And she became a really different person because of what happened to her on the island. I mean, there's a lot of really cool mirroring and paralleling with her and Oliver and how the island changes them. We've forgotten about all of that. There's so much more to her than that. But yeah, we talk about how everybody's hot in this. There's an exchange between her and Heatwave about how the president is hot.
Is that president hot or
was it the president? I was assuming that's who they were talking about because the way it was framed was kind of weird, but it was like, is it just me or is she hot? And then Heatwave, she's hot. Oh, he's a fire guy. Get it? See, that's why that's... And I usually really like Rory. He's one of the actors in that show that really gets what show he's in. Heatwave.
Wait a second. I just realized, does the public know that Heatwave is an arsonist?
I would love this in the press conference. Some reporter. Heatwave, would you explain to us how you got your name? Well, I burned my family alive. And I got a fire gun. That's what he says to everyone.
They give out the medals at the end of Star Wars, but they skip Heatwave a new Chewbacca. You're a criminal.
Wait, you're a criminal. When we said we don't care whether or not you wear a mask or who you are, we weren't talking about you, Heatwave. And by the way, we're going to recall all those Heatwave action figures that all the kids are playing with these days. Because you know about that, right? The Captain Cold action figure?
Yeah.
We're making action figures of real life, criminals and possibly murderers. Great. But yeah, so I don't know, that whole thing was really weird. That, like I said, that whole last scene, I'm sorry, it was filled with really bizarre and counterintuitive and just poor lines of dialogue. I cringed at this. I just cringed. Supergirl, you are Earth's mightiest heroes. That's the Avengers.
The Avengers and their crossovers. Do you remember when they were on the farm and the other crossover and they're like, bunch of superheroes on a farm? I think I saw this in a movie.
I'm like, I don't mean to be a fanboy about it, but why did they? Because here's the thing: every other line is a reference, right? So like, you're always in reference mode, especially with the cross. I don't know what it is. The crossovers always have more of it than anything. Cisco, and I mean, he does a lot, of course, of pop culture references, but like he and Felicity and Mr. Terrific and everybody just like throwing all these pop culture lines just one after another. Like we're using that as a crutch, right?
Even Barry. Barry mentions Ridley Scott when he that was actually funny. He says there were enough aliens to give Ridley Scott a nightmare or something like that. I was like, Ridley Scott, but then I realized that was very stupid.
And there's a bit where he's like, well, they're sort of like alien, and it's sort of like this other thing, and I'm like, we've been using the word alien all over the place. That's not the place I would have gone, because like, we keep saying alien, and then you're like, it's like Alien. Oh, you mean the movie Alien? Okay, you know, like the weirdest one, and I kind of liked this because I feel like 3 to 5% of the audience is even going to get this, but it doesn't make sense. When I think it, and I might be wrong about this, I think it's when we do a time jump, and Felicity, they keep doing this thing where she keeps throwing up. I don't know why that's supposed to be funny. And she, and they do the, and this is so kind of Douglas Adamsy. And we've had this before, where sometimes when you time jump, you even like can't talk right, and your speech is all messed up. There's a place, and I think it's one of those. Again, I might be wrong, where she says Darmok and Jalad at Tanagra. That's a Star Trek: The Next Generation reference. There's a TNG episode called Darmok that's about this alien race that speaks entirely in metaphors. And the main metaphor that they keep throwing out the whole episode, you find out what it is later, is Darmok and Jalad at Tanagra. And it's an episode that a lot of TNG fans like, and it's kind of iconic for Star Trek fans. And they have her say that. Okay, but like, did her voice get mangled so she accidentally made those sounds, or is she making a Star Trek reference? I don't even know what that is. It's so, but yeah. So Earth's Mightiest Heroes, that would be like if in a Justice League thing somebody yelled "Justice League Assemble,"
or like Superman Smash. Something like that.
I don't know. I like it wouldn't be a big deal. Like, that is a phrase, sure, but like the Marvel movies, the Avengers movies are so super popular. You can't not be thinking about that when you write Earth's Mightiest Heroes. It was the title of one of the Avengers TV shows.
Yeah.
This is very much an Eric kind of point, but it bothered me. I couldn't believe, just at the end with all of this, because it feels like a reference. It's like, oh, they said that? No, that's not this franchise.
Isn't that line literally right after the Superman Returns reference?
Yeah.
Like, she literally walks away from Ray, he says that, and then goes over here to now do it again. They do an equally ridiculous joke over here, or any reference over here.
Yeah, and if it wasn't meant to be a reference, I can't believe somebody wrote that. Well, I think it was Berlanti. Anyway. Okay, I cannot believe how long we've been talking about this. I mean, there's so much stuff in this. I know there's other things. Anything else you want to talk about? I will probably split this into 2 parts.
I had a list of things. I think I brought up everything that I wanted to mention. What do you think of Stein's daughter? Okay, we should probably talk about like that whole thing with... Because by the end, he's like full in, like, she's my daughter and I love her. And at the beginning, he's like, she doesn't exist and she should be erased from the timeline. He goes from that to that pretty fast.
Yeah, it's just because we can't spend a whole Legends episode on it. I actually kind of liked the bit where he says she's not a real person, because he's already got himself in a mindset where I know she can't exist. I know I messed up. I'm going to have to fix this. So I cannot think of her as a real person. While all along he has every reason to like her and respect her and love her and see her as the person he probably would have raised. I like that idea. I mean, I wish we had more time to develop it, and I wish, forgive me, I wish we had some smarter writing in dealing with that. But I mean, it's a thing that could have worked in a smarter show. The problem is we know what's going to happen. He can't go back in time and change things that have already been changed. I wouldn't think any more, wouldn't he be worried about causing more? But that's what Flashpoint is. What does he think he's going to do? So when he's like, well, don't tell anyone. Oh, that's the thing where Jackson's like, yep, let's keep that secret too. I know earlier I said, I should have told you guys, but, and to be fair, they had good reason for keeping what they kept a secret before, because Rip Hunter was told to not tell anyone by Barry Allen, and they accidentally found out about it. So that was a thing that actually kind of made sense for them to keep a secret. And so when he's like, we should have told you, I'm like, why? Oh, because it's like your standard dramatic situation. It always ends in, we should have told someone. Well, there are times where we do have to keep secrets. There's times where things are classified for a reason, and we're not making that distinction. So that's kind of irritating. But anyway, that was that. I just realized it. I just remembered it. That was that thing where it's like, oh, we'll keep your daughter, or the fact that your daughter's not supposed to exist, a secret. Well, gee, I wonder what'll happen. It's the Flashpoint thing all over again. The problem is, he went back to fix Flashpoint, and then that, altered thing, put the universe back together, like it happens in the comics, except lamer. It puts things back, because the only things that change, Rasco, are the characters that we deal with in these shows.
Yeah.
So it's so weird and so lame to me. But what would they do? Would Sarah say, yeah, let's go back and change that, even though we haven't been changing anything else because you caused it in the first place? I don't know. I mean, and I guess we'll see what they do with it. I guess I'll see what they do with it.
Unfortunately.
But yeah, I liked her.
Yeah, she was fine.
I like the actress.
The whole thing was, I thought that actually was a really interesting situation, but it's really unrelated to pretty much anything else going on in the rest of the episode, I think. Besides the fact that she helps him come up with that solution. But that's a really easy, they have that conversation where in the middle of it, the epiphany, he's like, oh, of course. So that's how they're trying to integrate that into the rest of it. And I don't watch Legends, so that just felt extra tacked on to me.
Yeah.
But... Well, that could have been an episode on its own and been fine.
Okay, so we haven't talked really much about and I was about to end the show, but we haven't talked really that much about the main conflict of this, because it's so easy to be distracted by just writing stuff. That's there, and we're dealing with it now as opposed to in later episodes of Legends, because this whole thing is supposed to be about the responsibility of not messing with the natural order of things, regardless of how it affects your person, right? So it's we don't do enough with discussing that in Flashpoint. And there's no resolution to that. I think the problem with it, because at the end Barry's basically like, yeah, sorry, I did that. I shouldn't have done that, and I would be willing to. Face the music in this really contrived way of giving myself over to the Dominators. But so he sort of learned a lesson, even though he's got Oliver telling him, what could you do? And then I guess Stein, it's supposed to parallel that. But again, there's not, really a resolution. So that's why it's there, but I don't think it comes together really. Explain two things to me. First of all, because I've watched this through twice and I can't figure this out, and maybe I'm just an idiot. Why do the Dominators know about Flashpoint? Because I can't figure out if they know about it because of what they got out of the Arrow characters' heads, or if they knew about it before and that's why they came when they did. Because if it's just about metahumans, why didn't they come before now? We've had metahumans for 2.5 seasons.
I mean, maybe they've literally been on their way for that long.
Maybe. But they don't tell us that.
That's probably what it is.
That would be fine, but they don't say that. And how do they know about it anyway? Well, I guess they had a listening post or something.
Okay. They had to go back in time. So the first aliens were there was a threat assessment, is what they said?
Yeah, and they found out about the JSA, who I kind of wish had been in that episode.
And
But like those are the metas they're worried about. That's what Vixen tells us.
okay. Then I have no reason. Then I'm very confused.
I'm not really sure how they found out about Flashpoint. I mean, I get the whole like altered history thing where you've got the other alien that got tortured, who then is allowed to escape, and then and then later he comes back and he remembers all of that, and I think he's the one that wants Barry. I can't remember now. I forget now. That whole thing was kind of confusing to me, honestly.
Was it like... Okay, so wait, what was the big thing that Cisco altered about the timeline that made him understand, or that made him just go, oh, okay, I forgive Barry now, right? Because Cisco comes back from the timeline. Was it something that they did when they went back that made the aliens come there in the first place, or something like that?
See, I don't think so, because since they had been there before, it seems like they had something there that would, alert them about the metahuman. I thought was the whole idea in the first place, and we never do that kind of time travel in this. It's never the paradox of something. We have to do something in the future to alter the past, and that's how it always happened. And so, like, it's backwards cause and effect. They never do that. So and I was confused because I thought maybe that's what it was supposed to be, but I don't think so. And if it was, they should have talked about it. Like, oh well, Cisco should be like, oh crap, the Dominators wouldn't have even have been here if we hadn't gone back in time. Except they would, because you have to go back. I don't think that's what it is, but. What he is worried about that they changed is just helping that Dominator escape.
Okay.
But the thing is, I don't know what would have happened to that Dominator the first time in the timeline. Like, because the Dominator is killing all those guys. You have all these Dominators, and they're cleaning house, and then. Did they get a Dominator in the first place before the second timeline happens? Or not? I'm not sure because they don't know much. They don't know much about them.
Was it like? It's okay.
I just feel like I missed something. I don't unless it's not there. Like I said, I saw it twice. Unless I'm stupid, I do not know what's going on.
Like for some reason I had it in my head like they helped the Dominator escape, and then like he. After that, like, betrayed them and was like, actually, the humans are dangerous. I don't, like, that's what it would have to be that for Cisco to feel guilty about messing with time. Wouldn't it? Because he should feel guilty about messing with time, period.
Yeah.
Right? But he obviously doesn't, and then he randomly understands that he was just screwing around with the timeline. I don't know why he randomly has that.
Because that alien comes in and Cisco's like, well, you should appreciate that we saved you. So and he goes, well, I will reward you by sparing your lives. And then he's like, give us Barry Allen. And I don't know if the whole thing is just that's his idea, and that's what's changed and stuff. I don't know if he knows about Flashpoint because. He dealt with Cisco and he read it in his mind or something, but they don't talk about that, I don't think. Something's missing. Unless, again, there's just some big thing we both did not notice. I don't get that. But I do not understand the plan to take Barry Allen, because it doesn't reverse Flashpoint, and there are other metahumans. Now, there is a line that Felicity or somebody has, I forget, where they're like, well, I kind of doubt, I was glad this was here, I kind of doubt that if we give them Barry Allen, they'll just leave all the rest of the metahumans alone. But I don't know why that's their plan, if they're probably going to try to wipe out the metahumans anyway. And again, they have a really easy way to do that. They've got teleporters.
Here's what I don't understand. Why don't they go to Salvatore and be like, hey, look, how are you gonna, deal with us if the aliens take over the world? Like, turn their villains against the aliens. What are the villains doing too, right? Like,
that'd be fun. Yeah. Yeah! Like, why are they worried about the more evil of the metahumans?
Yeah. Exactly.
Because there are other evil metahumans running around.
After the god of the Speed Force, rather than the guy who just is, using the Speed Force. Go for him. Very confused.
Speaking of the god of the Speed Force, which, by the way, I haven't been talking about Flash. I gotta say, I love him. He's so insanely out there and over the He kind of does. I love that they've gone so far to be like, we have a it's different this season, folks. We have a speed god.
He's a god of speed.
God of speed, which I thought meant something else. But okay, so you gotta love that moment when he says, or when Oliver says, so what, Barry? Do you have another evil speedster that you need my help with? Well, yes, actually I do, but there's this other thing. He shoots bows and arrows. Like, he was not qualified to handle magic guy. He's not qualified to handle alien guys.
But that's why we love him.
We, this notion of let's just pull together everybody in a costume and forget any help from the military.
Yeah, that's also there. Why didn't the military just take it into their own hands to begin with?
To begin with, yeah. I mean, and sometimes that's a question in superhero things, but like that's who knows about it. Argus knows about it in the first place, and of course the idea is they're going to handle it wrong, and our heroes are going to try to handle it right. And I'm glad that it's not just an invasion. I'm glad there's something more to it than that, and I'm glad that I wish we dealt more with the idea of superheroes who have the best of intentions, but they make everything worse. Because we keep dabbling into that, but we never fully explore it. It's not about that enough.
Yeah.
I wish we more directly caused this problem.
See, they can't do that if they want Oliver to be as inconsistent as he is, and that's like he simultaneously has to learn a lesson that kind of goes along those lines while simultaneously like telling Barry to do the exact opposite.
Yeah.
That's what's so irritating. This problem started though from like moment one of introducing time travel. Like they've never talked about like the responsibility you have. From scene one, they've never done that.
Well, I mean, they do now, but just really superficially.
Yeah.
Okay, real quick, one other silly nitpick just came to mind that I want to throw out, which is there's this great moment in the Legends episode, and a lot of this action, of course, is really fun to watch. Let me say this real quick. I am sometimes impressed by all of the special effects in a scene with a bunch of superheroes getting together that were able to integrate with live action. Like when they have Supergirl flying and they have Firestorm fly in, and they've got all our grounded characters standing there. That all looks really good.
Yeah.
It's cool. I mean, most of my praises for this stuff tends to be pretty surface stuff. There's this great moment where Vixen presses her necklace thing, and it's an elephant. And then she proceeds to spin kick everyone.
I noticed the exact same thing. Okay, exactly as you brought up the moment with Vixen, in my head, I just had this. I
want to see an elephant do that.
She just spin kicks a bunch of people, and then I was like, "Is he about to say this?" And then you did. And I was like, "Yes, so it did happen. I didn't just like imagine it."
Because, and what made me notice it is they slow motion the elephant. It's like, it's gonna be an elephant, you guys. And I was like, oh, what's she gonna do with that? That's kind of a cool one. Like, is she gonna get like this crazy like brutish super strength where she's gonna like pick up guys really slowly and toss them behind her or something? Like, what is she gonna do? Is she gonna chuck peanuts? What's she gonna do? And then, and really think that was gonna happen. And then, just spin kicking. I want to see an elephant do that.
Yeah, I noticed that exactly.
You know, Rasco, I've seen a lot of things, but I've never seen an elephant spin kick someone.
I have not either. Maybe that's supposed to be the trunk. Maybe her leg is the trunk, and she's smacking them with the trunk of the elephant. But that doesn't make sense.
And it kind of looks like just regular martial arts to me.
Yeah, like what is a flamingo? Like what is like flamingo power? Like what will she do then?
Yeah, I like the idea of Vixen, but we never really do anything with you know exactly what the animal powers are doing. She seems like a Power Ranger, where it's like she morphs and then she just kicks things. Like what powers do you have exactly?
Yeah, like
they've handled it better before, but the elephant thing was great.
summoned like monkey powers. Would she have like more agility because she can already do a lot of crazy things like spin kicks and stuff like that?
Maybe she can't. Maybe without elephant power, she cannot do any of those things. Maybe she's like, she has no training. She's totally weak invalid. She can't do anything. And then she presses that button, and all of a sudden, she's a Power Ranger. I don't think that's what's going on. Okay, 2 hours, Rasco. Anything else you want to talk about?
No, I don't think so.
Folks, I know we went all over the place, had a whole lot of different things to talk about, and that we were mostly criticizing and lampooning this, but boy, it's so preposterous. I can't say I didn't have a good time with it, but too often it was at its expense.
Yeah, that's the reality. Yeah, most of the time I'm enjoying, like, laughing at the show than with it. And that's sad, but it's still fun.
Yeah,
it's still fun.
I can't bring myself to stop. And again, I just don't feel like it's for the reasons it wants to be. What was it you said a couple? You said something I thought was pretty great. It was pretty profound when you said that you said a particular episode of Flash. I can't remember the word choice you used. Maybe you can help me. Where you said that it was like, oh, I know what you said. You said it was dumb. But it was fun. And you seem to be implying that part of what made it so fun was how dumb it was.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what episode that was. I think
it was when they brought in HR.
In it?
No, it was the monster. I think maybe it was the monster. Yeah. Maybe it was before that.
I don't remember exactly what I said, but yeah, that's what I get from Flash.
I agree with you. Especially with this crossover. This crossover is, if we have to compare them, I'm going to say it's better than the first crossover, which I just loathed, because it wasn't like we come up with an excuse. We do an episode with the two of them, and then we come up with an excuse to have the other one come to the other one the very next week, and they're not related at all. And you had a lot of this kind of really, really crappy writing. I don't think it's as good as last year's, though.
I would agree with that. I think
last year's was a lot better.
The moment that really sticks out to me in last year's is "Run, Barry, run" from Oliver, because of that scene. Like, that one puts it over the top for me.
That's your favorite thing. Well, if you're like me, I wish that show, the Flash, was just called that. Like we before Flash, we weren't allowed to call these shows just the names of the superheroes, so it can't be Green Arrow, it's gotta be Arrow. And it used to be that, and we're doing this with Archie, it's Riverdale. We used to have to call it, like the location of everything. You had Smallville.
Krypton.
We're gonna do, but Krypton's okay if it's about.
It works better with Krypton. It makes more sense.
What else would you call it? Grandfather of Jor-El. No, it's gonna be a Krypton show. No, that I'll give them that. But you were gonna have the Wonder Woman show was going to be called Amazon. Back when they were talking about that on the CW. When they tried to make a Wonder Woman pilot, it was called Wonder Woman, but it was on a different network. We should have called Flash Run, Barry, Run. Run, Lola, Run.
Yeah. Yeah. I like how they've just literally stolen that and made it their own with no apologies.
And they should, well, that is the Flash's equivalent of you have failed the city.
Yeah.
That's what that is. Well, anyway, okay, we've been talking entirely too long. Thanks, as always, for watching. Sure appreciate it. I know there's probably going to be a whole lot of different feelings in the comments and probably some dissenting stuff, and that's okay. Argue with us. Tell us what you think, and tell us what you thought of these episodes, and especially how you felt about the way Supergirl was integrated, and the and making this a 4-part crossover that ends up kind of just being 3. And did that bother other people the way it did us? Let us know. And in the meantime, Rasco, we'll see you again for more Flash, and I'll see you again for everything else. I am Captain Logan.
And I'm Rasco.
See you next time.